Hey y'all, Drago here. I just got back from the Miami Regional, and so I figured I'd do a small little deck profile going over my run and how the weekend went. Um, so basically, I got top four, I think third because I was the highest placing between the two of us that lost in top four, at least in Swiss. I think I was 11th and he was 16th, but top four, same difference, same pricing. I ended up playing Ace, even though I've been playing Emu a lot at locals. Haven't really been able to test the Emu very much, so I felt I should just commit to Ace, I guess. And even then, like I said, I was playing Emu all week. Even when I got to Miami Thursday and Friday, I was playing Emu before the pre-local until I got on this to get a couple games in. But obviously, worked out, and so just wanted to go over that. So for my run, I lost round one to a purple Luffy, and then I won 8 in a row to be 8-1 after Swiss ended, was 11th seed, the lowest ranked 8-1. So I was in winning ins for like the last 3 rounds, and thankfully I clutched it out. And then in Top Cut, played my second Ace Mirror of the entire weekend, um, and then 3 more Emus, beating the Ace, Emu, and then losing to Emu, which was the winner, eventual winner, Goblin, who I've known for a while, thanks to the Smash Bros. Connection. So congrats to him as well. Honestly, I wish there was more that I remembered about most of the games. Generally speaking, I think for all the matchups I played, they went pretty straightforward. Um, like I played 2 Rogers, 4 Emu, a Zoro, the purple Luffy, and 1 Mirror in Swiss, and they all went pretty much how you would expect. Um, versus the Emus that I went second versus, I curved out, eventually got there. It was, nothing too crazy. One of them I went first and I putting him and he didn't find a 10 drop immediately, which obviously is like really good, and that's how I ended up winning that one. I put in him on 7, did combo on 9, and snowballs from there. The Ace Mirror was very interesting, but he didn't see 10 cost, so like lucky there. And then the Rogers were like super close. One of them was like absurdly close. He goes Usahachi, rest my Marco, and then goes 11-12 for game on my 8K lead because he basically had no choice. He was super bricked up with like 1 life, and I had a pretty big board. And so I was able to just get out. The EZO effect needed to find me a 1K, and it did. So I was able to do 2K1 to get out of, or 2K 2K to get out of 11 because I was an 8K lead at the time, and then leader ability to get to 10 and 3 1Ks to get out of 12. So that was really, really clutch. But enough about that. Let's just talk about the deck list real quick. Nothing too crazy, but we'll go through just to be safe. So we'll start with the Searcher Core, which is 4 Ezo, 4 Garp, and to a lesser degree, 4 Otama. Pretty self-explanatory. We need wipe your pirate cards. The best thing about this deck is being able to ramp with a cost event to play a 10 drop, worst case a 9 cost Newgate. The secondary effect is pretty good because it just gives you a little bit more consistency at times. Not much to say there. And then Garp, same thing. It searches damn near everything in the deck, but what it really nice is that it makes things like Roger, Yamato, and Red Rock specifically searchable. Uh, being able to go 4 deep or maybe 8 deep if you have 2 Garps for like stuff like Red Rock, or Roger for the subsequent turn. It's just invaluable, and also it just helps you find your normal curve as well because it finds Yamato, Marco, Pudding. I forgot that it searches Pudding, all that. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then Otama, it's a 2K that can filter you, and it's another 1-drop that puts us at 12 1-drops. It's like a pseudo searcher. Just helps with consistency, and obviously, if we don't need to play it perfect because we just use it as a 2K. So that goes over essentially what I call the searcher core. Then we get to the core pieces, which is mostly Whitebeard Pirate stuff, but we got a couple other things. Starting with 2 Atmos. This is mainly a mirror breaker going first. They play Marco on 4, and we play Atmos to bounce it. Otherwise, it's not too useful. I played it once on stream for the top 16 match, I believe, to bounce a Charlos. It was like okay. If I was able to play Marco and swing 7, it would have just. Or I guess I was going second. So I played it on 4, but yeah, obviously swing 6, play Marco is just better, even if the Charlo stays on board. But this is mainly a mirror breaker. I'm sure it can come up in other ways, but mainly a mirror breaker. Then 4 Marco, amazing defensive piece. Draw 2 is crazy. Draw 3 is even crazier when you have leader effect online. There are so many board states where you just put double Marco down. You're able to tap your new gates because you're at 1 life, like 8 in hand, with 2 Marcos on board. So at best, they can rest like 1 most of the time. And so you're going to draw 3 or draw 2 and then draw 2 from life being taken or whatever. And it's just a lot. And then even on curve, like playing a 6K that gets this poke, and if they don't want to swing at it, cool. They're going to keep getting poked for 6. And if they eventually want to swing into it or KO it with like a Marcus Mars, it's draw 2 minimum, potentially draw 3. Just stupid good. Yamato, she's like the pseudo consistency piece. She draws 2, put the Dawn on lead, so she enables leader. You get to swing 7 that turn, draw 2 cards. She's a 5/6, so just good stat line. And not too much to say. Honestly, I didn't play her too much, but you never cut her. She's so good in the spots that you do play her. On curve, on 5, or even 6 Dawn, she's obviously still great. You're drawing 2 pieces. If she does get popped by a Mars or any other way to get popped on curve, because she gives the Dawn the lead, you draw again. So you essentially drew 3 with this card and forced them to have a response. And if they don't, well, then you're Gucci. And then the last like mid-game piece or early game piece is Jozu. Card is crazy. Being able to bounce one of the 4 searchers, or even if you need to, like a Yamato after it swung or an Atmos after it swung, is just super good value because you get to replay searchers, so just hold them in hand for counter. Helps in the mirror, especially both curves, it's good, but versus almost every deck that isn't Emu, you get to go Jozu bounce one of the searchers you play turn 1 to bounce their 5 or even 6 drop. Like on 7 Dawn, you can bounce the 6 drop they play. On 6, obviously, you bounce the 5 drop that a deck plays. This is good into Zoro, bouncing to Shigi. Good in the mirror because it could bounce the Marco or the Yamato or even the Atmos they play on 5 Dawn. I resolved Jozu versus Emu, I think, like 2 or 3 times this tournament. Twice versus Zoro in top 16, and like once or twice in Swiss as well. Because they just didn't see trash searchers. They would only see Saturns. But it's a 6/7 stat line too, so Marcus Mars can't pop it. It's relatively easy to defend versus Zoro that's like playing at the Shigi. Because it's usually just going to be an AK swing into it, so you just give 1 2K or a leader ability. And even if they go 9, because of leader ability, being able to Pritchett brick, like maybe a Red Rock that's not that good versus Zoro, and a 1K makes it really good. Sometimes in certain matchups, you'll just double bounce searchers because they have nothing to bounce. I will say, if you aren't already, most of the time, unless you have double searcher versus Emu, you should not be bouncing your 1 cost, because if they play Shirahoshi and you have to waste a 6K or even a 7K swing on that Shirahoshi, they are so up. So if you only have 1 searcher or like an Otama on board, you should just be raw playing Jozu. I saw a lot of people still not doing that and just letting themselves be super Shirahoshiable, and it definitely cost them games. Then, the big part of the deck, 8 cost event, Ion Whitebeard. Activate main, if your leader's a Whitebeard Pirate, play an Edward Newgate from hand, and then you can choose to rip a life to also gain +2 until the next turn. The secondary effect obviously can be relevant. There are a lot of times that you'll do it with this Newgate once you already have Roger in hand, and because it'll be your last life, you go +2 because of the event, +2 because of Newgate, and so now you're a 10k lead. Versus Emu, there are a lot of spots where that's just good because Roger, you already have this board. Because ideally the first event is the 10 cost blocker But even if it's not, and it's just like, okay, event to no life rip 9k, and then event for life rip 9k or something like that, and your board is like Jozu 12k 9k, and you're at 0, and they can't kill you because you're 10, and you have like 6, 7, 8 in hand, maybe 2 blockers depending on the board state, because there are board states where I do this combo 8, 9, and I already have 2 or 3 blocker beards on board. Then I become 10. I can't die. I enabled Roger on my turn. Boom, slam Roger, and now I go 6, 10, 10, 12, 12, 13 for game. And they have like 1 or 2 life. Even sometimes 3. That math is just like guaranteed, damn near. So obviously this card is insane. It lets you cheat out Newgate on 9 or 8 Dawn. And then on 10 Dawn, it lets you do even more crazy stuff. And so I'm at 2 Ninebeard instead of Taxbeard. I think it's better versus Zoro. I think it has close to the same benefits versus Emu, if not better, because like I said, I think the situations where you go to 10 as opposed to ripping life with like a 10, like let's say you do your 1 life, you're trying to activate Roger, and you do Taxbeard or this instead of Ninebeard, and you're only 8k. With the blocker, it's a little bit better, obviously, because it's inherent defense, but with Taxbeard, it's like, well, most of the time they're going to have the cards in hand, so if they can just swing out mathematically, sometimes it's there. But running 2, and then obviously 4 blocker beard, insane card. Draw 2 trash 1, put 4 Dawn worth of stuff on your board, which is like, so you're essentially playing this for 6, just crazy card. Insane value, insane defense, and it's really good. And then part of the reason we play the 6 cost Uta is because on 10 Dawn, we can go event into either Whitebeard, and because we still have 2 Dawn left over, we can play an Uta for 2 because we have a 10k on board. Insane defensive combo. There are times where you become an 8k lead, play this, if you have 2 Dawn left over, Dawn on lead, play Uta, swing out with like Jozu, whatever, I mean, and you just can't die, and now you're at 0 and Roger's enabled, and it's just so strong. There are times where you'll just swing out and play like double Uta, which is almost uninteractable in this format, just because the 6k stat line is so good. Mars can't hit it, Usohachi can't hit it, Jozu can, but that's 6 Dawn worth. Same with like Red Rock. Like obviously they can hit it, but 6 Dawn worth just to bounce a 2k to your hand with like a Jozu. Obviously most of the time is fine for you. And then we get into more of, well, really the last staple I think is 2 Roger minimum. If you want to go to 3, I guess that's not unheard of because a lot of the time it is your win condition. I'm at 2. It's like it's searchable off Garp. You draw a lot of cards in this deck. I can see running more. Like I don't think it's egregious. I just choose not to. So I'm at 2. And pretty self-explanatory cards. There are times you'll just park it, and that's when we'll get into one of the tech cards in a bit. Pudding, I wouldn't say it's a tech card, more like mandatory, but I guess your ratio depends. I know in Japan, the last event, I think the Ace was running no pudding, which is crazy. But you're at least at 1. Almost every list that topped is at 2 right now. I probably would never cut to less than 2. Just a mirror breaker, good versus Emu, potentially make them whiff on 10 costs. There's so many times where 1 10 cost is already in trash. I know 1's in hand. And going to my 7 Dawn turn, or maybe I did event on 8 going second. They're on 9. I already know they have a 10 cost. I don't have a 10 cost, or even if I do, I'm just gonna putting them play Marco swing out, right? And then it's like you better find a 10 cost. If you don't, you just lose. Crazy card. I mean, it's pudding. Then tech. I guess it's a tech card. Or at least my ratios are is Red Rock, Mirror Breaker to bottom deck, Newgates, Rogers, whatever. It's also pretty good into Rogue. It can help when emus are trying to park 10 cost versus you, which is a pretty decent strat versus Ace, because there are times you just play it and park it because you have so many blockers still up. And it kind of punishes Aces not swinging, trying to avoid giving the free draw off Warkery, which means Warkery lives, which means the emu doesn't actually have to like use the 10 cost effect, so they can just park it, and then next turn have a free 10, 12k before they even swing out, and then they also have 3 extra Don to just like swing with that next turn too, um, based on whatever. I loved it at 3. I saw it damn near every time I wanted. Um, Pretty good card. I love Red Rock in certain spots. Nothing too crazy. And then the other like pseudo tech slot is Thatch. This is mainly for when you play a Roger early because you have nothing else to do or your board is already just so set up, but no one's like quite at 0. But you know that your Roger's going to be like safe on board, so you just play it. And then the next turn, you use Thatch to rip your own life, go to 0. Roger's enabled. You have 9 Don to work with. Good luck surviving. Um, I might the only change I do to this list is I might cut Thatch to 2 to put in a 2K Whitebeard pirate that is searchable off Garp, so it just has to be a 4 cost or more. I'm leaning red Jozu just because I guess Rush, but 2K Kingdu is viable. I think there's a couple other ones, um, but it just boosts Garp consistency by 2% or something like that. I actually don't know math. I think one card is generally speaking 2% in a deck consistency wise, but that might be wrong info. Thatch never came up. Um, there was one game where I did play Roger early. I think it was versus Goblin game 2, the game I won. Because I really didn't have another 10 cost. I only had the one I played. But I know he wasn't on Stussy, so I was like, I can just play this Roger. I was at 1 life, so it kind of made him like make these weird decisions. And like, does he swing? Does he not swing? He ended up swinging, putting me to 0. I did not have Thatch in hand. I would have drawn it for turn though. So like, or I could search for it. I had like double EZO in hand, and obviously I'm gonna spend 3 Don to activate Roger. Worst case. So like, I mean that's the reason you put it in. It just never comes up, so I think 2 is probably fine, and just slightly boost Garb's consistency. But yeah, I mean it was a great weekend. Like I said, I don't remember too much about my matches aside from like the one with Zoru, which was a crazy one. Ended up winning in time. Got really lucky that he made a mistake and took a life because from my perspective, I thought he had one more turn, and so even if he blocked well, actually, I guess I knew I needed to get him to 1. So, like, I would have swung my Marcos that I had, even if he did block. But the second he took, it was just very easy to pass and win the game, even though, because it went to overtime and it was dumb. We were both playing fast, though. Like, I think it wasn't no slow play or anything. And Alex is a cool guy. I'm glad we really um, got to hang out this weekend. He just seems pretty chill. And yeah, almost everyone I played was chill. Not almost everyone I played was chill. Everyone I met was chill. It was a great time, and I really appreciate everyone for their kind words of support and just like messaging me congratulations and all that. I did not expect to do that well, to be honest. I have not prepped super duper hard for this format yet. Like I know it, and I guess that's what makes it easier. I knew Emu Zoro and Ace matchups kind of. But big shout out to OPTCG Grinder and Sam Sims and that entire like Project Serial group. I don't check in often, and I'm kind of supposed to be there to help others learn, but because I just go to locals instead, most of the time I just end up reading the chat and seeing what they've worked on, and it helps a ton. And then every time I have a question, Elijah, my twin, just he answers my questions. Same with Sam, same with Jake, all those players in there. And then obviously shout out to the Austin scene. Well, I love them. They're my like closest friends. I'm so glad I got to meet them thanks to this amazing game that we all love and this IP that we all love. Um, I love playing this game. There's nothing more I enjoy than playing this game. Like it really feels like a second awakening for my life. Not to be super dramatic, but like love the IP. The game feels amazing. The community is amazing. Being able to travel the country and soon the world, um, just to play this game and meet people that like card games and like the same IP. It's just so wonderful. And a lot of that starts here in Austin with all the awesome people I met since I started playing in OP01. And all the test games and all the people messaging me and all that. And so I just big shout out to Austin and all the players here. And aside from that, I mean, just stay tuned for more videos. A lot of it will be like Ace, Emu later on. These next couple weeks, I'll try to do like Roger, Bonnie, Luffy, um, Green Bonnie specifically, just to like get more variety and show off the newer leaders that I think are pretty good, at least at a local level at a minimum. And then stay tuned for, like future regionals I go to. We'll see what we can do at Nats. We'll see what I can do at Mexico, Fort Worth in a couple weeks. Just really excited to keep playing, and like I said, I don't take this for granted one bit. It's such a blessing to be able to play this game and compete. And I've be in the situation that I can travel in, and it's just so awesome. And yeah, like I don't know what else to say. I guess I'm just rambling at this point. But thanks again for watching. We just hit 2K followers on Twitter, like 1.5K subs on YouTube, which is crazy. When I started uploading in OP06, I never would have thought that my YouTube would do so well. And so it's really all thanks to y'all, and I guess y'all just like watching the games, and so that's really cool. Um, but yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that, and thank you again.